Pulp MX Network production.
Bringing you a cheeky Brit and an American YouTube racing sensation weekly. It's the LVK More Than Moto podcast with your hosts, Phillips and Kellen Brauer.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Leatt LVK More Than Moto podcast. I'm Kellen Brauer, joined by Phillips, and we are done with the Supermotocross World Championship in 2025. 31 races are behind us, and somehow, some way, the last one gave us plenty more talking points to carry us into the offseason. I don't know what's going to happen over the next couple weeks or months, but certainly we will be with you guys a lot in the next few months to talk about all the stuff that's going to happen. And first of all, we're going to talk about what just happened this past weekend. So first off, Big Lou, how are you doing? How was Vegas? How was the flight back? Are you okay?
I'm tired, Kellen. A little bit tired, but I'm here, ready to give it my all. 10 out of 10 effort for this podcast, as always, from me. We'll see if you can match that. All pressure's on you. First of all, Kellen, let me ask you a question. You didn't go to Vegas. Do you have a sense of regret, or did you have a sense of FOMO, or where are we at?
No, not a tinge.
Okay. So now, my assessment. Once again, I was very harsh on Vegas last year. In the day, it again lacked something. That pizzazz, that atmosphere. It was just anonymous, an anonymous day.
Hold on.
Hold on.
You cannot just say that during the day it lacked pizzazz, because I know from the text you were sending that it lacked a lot more than pizzazz.
It was just like, honestly, I spoke to a couple of people, and, well, it's going to be quite clear who I spoke to when I say this next bit, and we agreed that it was like being in Qatar. So, there's a lot of people in the SMX paddock who went to Qatar, so
loads.
You're not going to be able to figure out who the hell my sources were. But yeah, it felt like being in Qatar. But once the light went down, the lights came up, the fireworks went on. It did carry a little bit of energy, intensity, and was a fitting end to the SMX World Championship.
Okay, lovely. How much different would your own opinion of this be if you did not get invited to the Fly Suite?
Well, not to spoil it, but obviously the most exciting part of this podcast is going to be that my final topic is a weekend in the life of Lewis, where I've made notes on observations that I had of my life, from the casino to a staircase to food to chase. So I've got lots of observations, but to answer your question, the Fly Suite was brilliant, and if I didn't get into the Fly Suite, I would have most likely gone on strike.
All right, fair enough. Well, that is pretty much the assessment I had expected, especially given how lackluster everything seemed during the day. I mean, I only got to watch some qualifying, but even that just felt so subdued somehow. Like, I get that even from a broadcast standpoint, they were trying to build up the hype for the evening, but if the evening didn't go the way it did, I just felt overall that everyone was like, "Get me out of here." Up until that point.
I don't know if it was that. I didn't necessarily sense a vibe of the season's over, let's get this done. It was more just, my vibe more came from the atmosphere of the venue, just felt very flat. Okay. Like, I don't know where else you put it, but I don't think that it carries much benefit being at that venue. I don't know how long their contract is, typically 3 years, so I guess we'll be there next year. But honestly, when the calendar comes out, and I did confirm September the 30th, which is a week from today, I think, 8 days from today, we will get Supercross and Motocross SMX dates again, but not venues.
Lovely. Fantastic.
All
venues
right. Announced at Anaheim 1.
Well, I'm sure we'll get into more of the venue and the weekend and all of that stuff in a little bit, but let's get into the race itself. And of course, it's all brought to you by Leatt. And Leatt protection is in our brand DNA. It started 20 years ago with the groundbreaking Leatt neck brace and continues today with an extensive product offering of protective gear and riding apparel. But what Leatt really stands for is inspiring confidence and ensuring safety with every ride. And I don't know about you, Lou, but did you see Justin Hill's Leatt kit this weekend?
Yes.
I thought it was rather nice. I was very impressed with the one-off deal that Leatt put together.
I thought you were going to say surprised then.
No.
Oh. Well, you've backed me into a corner now, Kellen, because I have to say that I liked it too, don't I?
Do you not like it? I'm just
I
saying,
like it, Kellen.
I'm just saying that a lot of times when the people do like the one-off Vegas celebration kits, like I was a little let down with some things this weekend from a special edition standpoint, but I thought Leatt like actually did a really nice job tying all their stuff together on Justin Hill specifically.
For the most part, I just feel like the Vegas theme is so played out that I've seen poker chips on bikes, guys. I'm
Yeah.
good. And equally, we're in Qatar out there, so like it's not really relevant. Maybe put some tumbleweed on a bike, and then it'll be a little more relevant to the setting.
Yeah, I could get on board with that. But yeah, thanks to Leatt for supporting the show. Let's jump in. We got to start with topic A plus at this point. I mean, there's no one else talking about pretty much anything else but what just happened in that 250 race. Hayden Deegan breaks his collarbone, crashes into Joe Shimoda several times. Shimoda walks away as the champion. Seth Hammaker wins the final moto of the year. That's something that no one else is talking about, but that's cool. But this Deegan thing is crazy, and I don't really want to dive too much into the semantics of it all and what we really think and everything unless you do, but there's a lot of fallout that's going to happen from this, and obviously Team USA is affected and everything like that, but just your initial reactions, I guess, post-race to what just happened. Like, were you walking around the pits and everyone wanted to talk about it there? Like, how stunned was everybody?
No, honestly, Kellen, and I swear to God, this is God's honest truth, not one person mentioned it to me after the race. All anyone wanted to talk about was Chase.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
which I think is understandable, because
yeah.
in that moment it was still a lot of unanswered questions.
That's true.
And
because
naturally, I'm the beacon of light, point of contact.
you are the beacon of light. There was, I mean, a lot of people asking questions on Twitter still after that race. Like that, obviously there was a lot of Deegan discourse, but I maybe like an hour and a half after the race, there was still people just like, what's going on? No one gave an update. TV barely said anything at all. They just said he's down. He was laying on the track for 5 laps. Then they never showed him getting carted away. So we saw on social media a couple of accounts that posted that. Like that was definitely more of like the frightening situation, it seemed.
I gained 600 followers in the hour after the 450 moto. And I'm guessing it's just because everyone's like, well, we'll follow this Lewis guy. He'll know something about Chase.
Maybe.
Which actually made me think, cool, there's really some value here to, like, getting to know a rider. Business opportunity. But anyway, that's besides the point. I'm already getting heat, but I guess we're all going to get heat for opinions on this. My gut feeling was how embarrassing. Because if you're Deegan, you've talked for talk for years, and this was the first time where you needed to back it up and walk the walk. And ultimately, Joe had an answer to every single move and kind of made Hayden look a little bit silly.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
my gut reaction, is like, hey, you didn't really back up your talk. I used this analogy on the Vital MX post-race show earlier, but it's almost like when you can't see a dog behind a door and the bark sounds vicious, and then you open the door and you're like, oh, it's nothing. It's kind of what we had in Vegas. The bark sounded so vicious for so many years, and then we finally realized that actually the dog isn't that effective. Or maybe the dog's big, but its bite doesn't really know how to bite correctly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's insane to me. Personally speaking, I didn't really like it, but I totally get why he tried it. And to be honest, one thing that I haven't really heard many people mention at all is that, okay, so he gets the 5-point penalty for aggressive riding, which is the second step of the aggressive riding penalty book as they have it written. It's a warning, then it's a 5-point championship penalty, then it's a 10-point championship penalty, and then I think it's like a suspension or something. I think the last one is a bigger one. But anyway, so no one's really talked about the fact that, let's say he does put Joe down the same exact way, but stays up and wins that second race. Well, Joe had to pass Vial again. He was going to go 1-4 if Deegan stays up, and Joe did get Vial in the last corner. But in the event that he doesn't, then Deegan did actually almost kind of find a way to do it. He just crashed while trying it. And if that does happen that way, they would have tied on points because he would have accepted the 5-point penalty, but he wins the last race of the year, so he gets it on the tiebreaker.
That was a lot of information, Kellen. But if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
But I'm saying,
and if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
I'm saying, in terms of a motive, that's how I get to the conclusion of why I can see why he did it. Now, I think it's dumb because I do think that there would have been a harsher penalty had he pulled it off, right? Like, do you agree that
there has to be. Yeah, there has to be.
So
but then can there be? Because technically, the ruling was handed out due to aggressive riding. So if he pulled it off, it's equally aggressive riding. I don't know how it's not like you would label it differently. So then you're just handing a harsher penalty because of opinion, which you can't do because it has to be fact. I think this is where the rulebook is, or they are attempting to make the rulebook a little more clear cut with layers to the rulings.
Yeah, I mean, they are trying, and I think that we're going to see already a vastly different looking rule book next year when it comes to penalties and application of such. But, I mean, you talked to Lars post-race. Lars basically said he was going to fight like hell if it did work out that Deegan somehow won that, doing that. And I think that, in a way, because he did his own damage, the AMA kind of was able to go to their own rule book in this situation. But I also know from what you guys have said, what Steve has said, and everyone else about what the AMA has thought about this is that they were thinking of something bigger. Like, they were thinking this is too much. The aggression was too far. He did it like 4 times, which you could say is an individual penalty each time he did it, if you want to go that far. So, yeah, I don't think that this stands if he pulls it off. That's my opinion. Some others may disagree, but I think if he did it, they would have found a way to reverse it.
Yeah, I just don't know. I honestly don't know how it holds up. Does it go to court then? Like, because obviously they're going to protest the ruling, and I don't know how it holds up unless there is a specific caveat to the rule that says aggressive riding that results in triumph? I don't know. Like, again, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know how there would have to be some wording in there that makes it a clear-cut rule where they can be like, yes, this is the rule you violated. Because if it is just aggressive riding, then yeah, it's 5 points across the board, isn't it? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, no? But I'm saying I think that the AMA then would have said, okay, aggressive riding for cross-jumping Seth Hammaker, aggressive riding for attempted takeout 2 or 3 times on Joe Shimoda.
But does it work like that?
I think that they can go that way if they want to. I think that they can subsequently stack things together if someone's that reckless.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point, though. I don't think we've ever seen it, unless I'm forgetting something. But is it aggressive riding per incident, or is it for the event? Like, if you just take out 27 million people over the course of one event, do you lose 5 points because aggressive riding is a blanket statement rather than isolated to one incident? Good question. We should have worked that out.
Well, I do think that that's what the protest would have been levied, from Honda or whatever. Like, I think that just in general, you would have seen drama if he had pulled that off, because I think the AMA would have been forced to play their hand at some level. And then it creates all the online drama that we're pretty much already seeing anyway of everyone rebuttaling. So I don't want to get into the ifs of that anymore. But, dude, I mean, it's crazy that this happened. Team USA might be upside down. I know that you...
Oh, it is upside down.
But I know that you got like a little bit of an update that's maybe some positive news about, what's going to happen if Deegan and Chase are both out.
They are.
Like, this is just a terrible situation all around. Like, nothing of good value, I feel like, came from this.
Oh, we got a Joe Shimoda championship?
No, I'm not talking about... I'm talking about Deegan's antics specifically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Fuck around, find out, I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we ended up. That meme perfectly encapsulates the way that Hayden Deegan left Las Vegas. I don't have much to say. My gut feeling is what I'd said initially. It's a bit embarrassing because if you talk the talk that aggressively, you've got to back it up. And he it went the worst way possible. Like, a lot of people said, oh, if he, like you were saying, if he takes out Joe and wins a championship, he's not going to want to do that because he's not going to be able to handle the backlash. But I always disagree with that, because if that happened, Hayden would have gone on the podium and gone, none of you know what it's like to have 500 grand on the line. You would all do whatever it takes as well. Championships there, got to do what you got to do. I honestly don't think that would have fazed him at all. I think this is a much bigger shot to the ego. Because this is him, his facade is starting to fall. here because the action didn't match the words. It's like no different to any other walk of life, like sitting here and going, yeah, I'm going to beat him up. Yeah, put me in a room with him, I'll beat him up. Yeah, no problem, I'll beat him up. And then you get beat up. Like, probably I wish I hadn't talked such a big game now.
No, I mean, you're right. And I do think that, like, to the Backlash point of view, I don't think he cares anyway. I think the fans, he could be the number one villain in the sport, and I think that to him it doesn't matter one lick. It's a motivation, as he says. But
in this point, though, I don't think it's because of the reaction of people. I just think internally you're like, oh, fuck, that's... I've made myself look like a bit of a twat there.
There's two interesting things that are going to happen from here that I'm really curious to see. One of which is, and it's been mentioned pretty much everywhere, I think pretty much most of the industry is not with it anymore. Like the riders and I talked to so many people after the race, and no one was like, "That was awesome," unless they were Deegan fans. So, like, I feel like generally speaking, riders are like WTF, teams are a little bit like WTF, and now he has to deal with that moving forward, especially about to step into the 450 class where they're just going to be more aggressive and bump him around and all that. And then on top of that, you also have this weird kind of fallout happening where I feel like the fans are at this disconnect now where, yes, Deegan brought a lot of new fans in, but it doesn't seem like these new fans are really understanding the sport at a higher scale, to the fact where we even have an MMA fighter saying no one would watch the sport if Deegan wasn't there. And it's like, no, that's not where we're at. Like, you guys got to understand the economics and the number side of it a little bit better than what is going on, because that's not true at all. You can look at the numbers and totally figure out that if Deegan wasn't there, the sport would actually still be on an upward trend. But him being here makes everything better. I just don't understand how we got into the point where people are saying, if you don't like that, you shouldn't watch the sport. And it's like, we've been watching the sport this entire time. I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's not so much not liking that, because I do have no issue with trying something. This is my statement I'm trying to stay consistent on. I have almost no issue with what Kaiser Wolf did in Australia, because he took one shot in each moto and it was successful. What?
We'll get into that, but I have problems.
He took one shot in each moto and it was successful. So, like, Championships Online, take your shot. You got to do something, take your shot. And then it's on you to make that shot work. I have more of a problem with taking 5 shots and counting because you just can't execute. Like, at that point, like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Where do you stand? Where do you stand on bunching as a technique? Because borderline kind of slowed the pace down in the first place when Levi was still there. As soon as Levi was out, then it was full takeout mode. But like at the start of this whole him doing something, he was slowing back down to them. Is that, like, are we fair game on that?
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I am too. A lot of people are not, but I'm like, whatever. You got to try something, and you have the pace to run the lead pace or higher. You can slow down to their pace as much as you want. We see that happen all the time, where you could even say Jet manages the race so that he backs into them a little bit and he has a 2-second lead and then just stays there. Could he go faster? Probably, but he doesn't. So
there was a moment where I felt like the bunching was going to work against him, because it did look like Joe was just going to ride away from him. And I was like, oh, that's again in that moment, I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing. Because imagine, in any instance, any rider, the worst thing to ever do is let someone by tactically and then them drop you. Like, oh, yeah. Okay. You're really just exposed to the fact, but obviously that didn't happen anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I'm once again, I'm just at a loss because I'm bored of talking about Deegan. It's congrats to Joe. In some way, I guess you've got to respect Deegan for wanting it that bad. Just 5 attempts is a bit much.
I respect that he does want it that bad. That's for sure. Like, that's cool that you have someone in the sport that's willing to go to that extreme. But I do think that he's now made even more enemies than he had before on the racetrack. I think there's a lot of riders that are not cool with the tactics now, and that could bite him. So, but
is he as alienated as Vince Freeze and Christoph Porcel, which in my mind are the two most not even polarizing, because polarizing would mean that you have people for you and against you. In the pits, is Deegan now so as isolated as those two? I almost lean towards yes.
It's a weird question, and why I would lean maybe yes is because
I think it's a great question.
It's weird in the fact that with Vince, with Porcel, it kind of always felt like it was just the class they're in was a problem. You know, like the guys that they're battling around are the ones that are like WTF. But it feels like there's some real negative pushback on both sides of the classes. Obviously, Deegan's about to step up, so maybe that's why. But I feel like you hear more negative opinion in both classes than I remember for Freeze and Porcel.
I agree with you on Vince, but Porcel, the impression across the paddock was he's a weird guy.
Well, but that's
because it was less about the race. It was less about the on-track actions with Porcel. So, and I'm not talking just on track. I just mean generally as a person. I think I feel like Hayden Deegan is the second coming of Christoph Porcel, which really flies in the face of USA. Although Christoph Porcel did win for Team USA this year, so maybe not.
Yeah.
But then again, Hayden Deegan hasn't represented Team USA this year. So is Christoph Porcel more American than Hayden Deegan? Discuss.
I'm not going there, but I will go into the direction.
Well, that was a joke, everyone.
What we do with Team USA at this point. You had a tweet post-race, I think that same evening, that it sounds like there's a handful of guys that want to do it, or a lot of people were interested, but what do you think they actually do? Like, where are we at in the next 3 or 4 days with announcing a new team?
Justin Cooper MX2, RJ Hampshire Open. Final answer, lock it in.
Lock it in. No one else is going to put their name in the hat?
No, Cooper Webb's put his name in the hat quite aggressively, but I think this is what happens. Justin Cooper, in my post-race interview, did you listen?
No, I didn't listen to that one. I listened to the Shimoda and the Lars one, sorry.
You hate me, wow. You hate me, it's crazy. So, to sum it up, I obviously said to J. Coop, so, are we interested? Are we open? And he repeatedly talks about how cool it would be to drop down to the 250. And I was like, yeah, so you'll race either class? Yeah, 250 would be sick, imagine. And I'm like, so you're racing a 250? He was like, yeah. I said, when do you expect to know? And he went, I kind of already do. And I was like, well, there we go.
You know what's
Thanks
really
for coming out?
That's really funny to me, because I remember last year when they were going through the idea of who's going to drop down and race a 250 when Deegs was out to do Matterley last year. And I asked Jay Coop 4 times, and he's like, I don't really want to do that. And then by the end, he was like, I would, but I'm not into it. So apparently now he's dead set on it.
It's in America, so that does help, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
I guess, but it's still the same premise, which is you've been riding a 450 all season long, now 2 seasons in a row, and you got to go back down and figure it out again. So,
and then RJ said to me he was adamant he would never ride a 250. He told them, don't even talk to me about a 250. But he told me that, yeah. So I'm going to try and explain this in the best way possible. There is something fishy going on. Because in my interview, again, I say to RJ, are you open to it? And he goes, well, I told them I needed to know before Vegas, otherwise I'm out. I have to know before Vegas. And I'm like, sir, Chase crashed tonight. He was like, yeah, we've got a practice bike prepped at the farm. The practice bike's there. It's all set up and ready to go. I just told him I needed clarification before this race. And I'm like, what do you know that we didn't? And then he went, he panicked and went, all I know is I want to race for my country. And I went, well, I think you know more than that. And he went, all I know is I want to race for my country. So what the fuck was going on before Vegas?
Was Chase thinking of pulling out? Is that what you're thinking?
So then I went up to someone at KTM and explained, and they said, they could have been lying to me. They said they think that RJ was down as a reserve, and he basically said, I'm pulling my reserve pass. I was the reserve, I'm either in or I'm out, which maybe, but it was definitely, there's a fucking practice bike ready for the nations.
Yeah,
before Vegas.
But then I don't get how, okay, so clearly it sounds like he's in or really wants to be in now. And so why would you decline the reserve but then get on the team anyway?
Something is fishy. Something doesn't sit right here with me at all. I'm very confused.
Okay.
But yeah, it was the most bizarre conversation ever, and I just kept interrupting him to be like, what do you know?
Well,
but yeah, to me, And Cooper Webb again said he would ride both classes, like put me in. He said, I know I'm not deserving at this point. And I don't know about Levi Kitchen. Seth Hammaker's having surgery tomorrow on his shoulder, so he's out. I don't know about Levi Kitchen. Obviously, it's much easier to put Justin Cooper on a 250 because he just goes on Deegs' bike. Kawasaki and Pro Circuit weren't planning to send anyone. So to draft in Levi Kitchen would be more of a toll. And to be honest with you, I don't really know if Levi Kitchen cares. Have you ever heard any sort of desire from Levi Kitchen to race the nations? I haven't.
I mean, I don't feel like other than like a handful of really good races, he's ever been kind of close to be considered to be picked.
Yeah,
no?
maybe that's what. And also, like, he's just been around the times when you could say he was an option. He was around Deegan, so I guess he was always like the afterthought.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Justin Cooper MX2, RJ Hampshire Open. I feel so confident. I'd be surprised if it's anything different to that. Even to the point where both riders were like, yeah, give me a couple of days off and then I'll get back to work. So, oh, cool.
Cool. Well, I don't want to do a whole riff about what that's going to look like in 2 weeks' time or whatever, but we'll do a Nations preview next week, right? Like this is going to be, yeah, so.
Teaser. If Jeffrey Hurlings was on the Dutch team now, they would be the favourites.
They have to be, dude, like, I don't understand. I'm sorry, Calvin Villandern, but someone should have made the call.
It's a fucking weird situation.
Do you think there's any chance he still is on the team by Nations?
Someone messaged me this morning and said, have you spoken to Hurlings about MXON? I hear he's in. And I said, no, I haven't spoken to him, but I find it hard to believe.
Was it Pitt himself?
No. Although someone did message me today and say that I think I know more about Hurlings than what KTM does. And I was like, oh, okay.
Good to know. All right, well, let's get into my second topic. Before we do that, I want to give a big thanks to Namura. Namura Technologies has been a trusted name in performance engine components for motocross, ATV, UTV, and personal watercraft for over 20 years. From complete rebuilds to high-performance upgrades, Namura delivers precision-engineered parts built to perform under pressure. Their expanding lineup includes cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, engine valves, and cylinder kits, all designed to meet or exceed OEM specifications. Find full product detail and application coverage at Namura.com. All right. Second topic, Big Lou. I wanted to kind of carry it on from the Deegan thing a little bit better than this, but we have to go down under and talk about what happened in MX2. And for those that don't know, Simon Langenfelder is now the MX2 world champion. Kai de Wolf gave it his best attempt in Australia and didn't work out, basically, is this the premise of this. The first moto, he started with Simon, ran him wide. Simon cut back underneath and ran down Ferris and took the lead. Then Kai ran down Ferris and got second. Then he took Simon out for the win, basically, in the first moto. 20 minutes in or something like that. It was pretty far along. And then second moto, it just about started raining as the gates dropped, and Kai took out Simon on the very first lap of the race I think that was for second, right? I forget who whole shot. Oh, Sasha had whole shot. Yeah. And then Langenfelder got held up later, then he crashed by himself later, but then de Wolf's bike started letting go, and it did let go, but then the rain was falling so hard they called the red flag like a lap after it let go, and somehow he still ends up fifth in the moto, but Simon ends up in sixth and wins the world title. So, first of all, chaotic Australian GP. That was insane. What was your reaction to Kai's attempts?
Well, first of all, I think that MX2 trumps 250 SMX this weekend as far as drama and excitement. I really do. I think that was about as nail-biting and thrilling as you could get with the rain, the red flag. So, first of all, I'll go back to what I said. I'm more than happy with one shot in each moto. Make it work or don't. Like, you get your shot. I feel like that is a fair token.
You don't consider Moto 1 2 shots. He cross-jumped him on the first lap and then took him out 15 minutes later. So, is that not two?
But it's not as egregious as what Deegan's shots were, because Deegan's shots were like real shots, you know? Like they were real, like, I've hit you, I failed, I've hit you, I failed, I've hit you, I failed. At least Kai made contact once in each moto and both times worked. No? I don't know. Anyway, so that's my take. I almost don't have a bad word or anything to say about what Kai did. the second moto, I'm still a little bit confused by this. And I don't know if I'll ever get clarity, because I don't think anyone really knows. So the red flag came out because of the weather. They counted it back 2 laps, is what people told me. But there was confusion over who was champion, because if they counted it back, or however many laps they counted it back, but let's say it was 2 for argument's sake. If they counted it back 3 laps, Kai was champion. But if they counted it back 2 laps, Simon was champion. Simon. Fuck me. The American thing is to call him Simone, and now I can't get that out of my head.
Is it Simon or Simone? I thought it was Simone.
Simon. No, it's Simon. Simon.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there was some confusion over who was champion. Simon got it. I've always been there for him. No one has championed Simon Lagenfelder more than me. Heartbreaking for Kai de Wolf. The visual of Lagenfelder crossing the finish and Deegan and de Wolf just pushes his bike like just as Lagenfelder goes past. That was very emotional.
That shot is insane.
Yes, and I do feel for de Wolf. I really do, because you know what? This is also my takeaway. My iconic interview with Chase Sexton after Salt Lake City, Hall of Fame material that still people are mad about. I found out. If you remember, Chase and I were going back and forth, and Chase was like distraught, and he was like, "I don't know. I feel like I deserved it. Like I don't." And I stopped him and went, "Yeah, that's fine. Like I think you can stand there and say Cooper Webb deserved that championship, but I feel like I did too. That's fine. That's kind of how I feel about Kai as well. Like Kai." I can sit here and say Kai de Wolf deserved to win that championship, and this is heartbreaking, without taking anything away from the fact that Simon Lagenfelder also deserved to win this championship. It's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
So, heartbreaking, but also good for Lagenfelder. It's a long time coming. He should have got it done sooner than this. I still believe that Lagenfelder is not fulfilling his potential. I still believe there's more to come. There's more to get out of him. I know that he... Have I put this out? I don't know if I put this out, and I don't know if I should, but maybe I already have, so I'll do it anyway. Simon tried to go to Nissan Husqvarna for next year, and I really believe that would be his crowning moment, where he really accelerates to the next level. Ultimately, he's not. He's going to the Austrian awning, where Hurlings is currently. Maybe that does something for him. I don't know, but I do still believe that looking at his scorecard from this year, he can be better, because truth be told, Kai de Wolf was 70 points down after round 11, I think it was. So it never should have been this close, because Lagenfelder is certainly a good enough rider to not lose a 70-point lead.
Yeah. Well, and you know, you kind of hit on this on the MXGP pod, but I think you said it, that de Wolf has more podiums and moto wins, I think, right? Like Simon was a little inconsistent, especially down the stretch. Like he had a wild string in the last 7 GPs or so where he would win and then have a bad round or something. But he did eventually pull it off. I'll go back to a couple things. First of all, the repeated attempts for the takeouts and stuff like that. Okay. In my opinion, you get 1. I'm not saying 1 per moto. I'm saying you get 1. And he took a shot, in my opinion, twice. Like the first moto, first lap of the race, he totally cross-jumped him coming down the hill, and they hit. And then Simon had to stop, cut underneath. Then he knifed under him and almost took him out.
That was sick.
It was a good...
But like, that was exciting. I like that.
Oh, that was exciting.
I almost forgot that was egregious.
That was exciting. And Simon also did great to read
sidebar, well done to the fucking Australians, because I don't know if I've ever seen a motocross track with so many options and the inside to outside. You know, like it was a very, 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 very good racetrack.
It was, and also well done to the Australians for traveling, because there was actually a lot of people there. It was loud when Simon got taken out and everything. So,
didn't it remind you of Villa Angostura in the way that the fans are kind of like almost like a mini Erne? Like the fans are not overlooking the track, but like staring at the track. I don't know.
Well done,
Australia. Well done, Australians. You know what? Everyone gave Darwin shit, but it turned out to be fucking amazing. Like, honestly, from Friday, like when people walked the track, I didn't have a single message from anyone that was negative. Yeah. Everyone was like, yes, sick.
But anyway, so back to the point. He does end up taking him out in the first moto rather aggressively. I don't know if you saw. Did you see the shot someone took from behind the takeout?
And I will say, I saw that like an hour ago, and when I saw that, I was like, okay.
Dude, he comes from way far to get him, all the way at the banners, basically, and takes him out. And kudos to Simon for jumping right up and still finishing second in that moto. And then Moto 2, like, I get it. You got to take your chance. But he went right to aggro mode again and made sure to stop on the racetrack to take him out again. And I'm just like, how is the FIM going to be okay with that's more or less, in my opinion, repeated attempts to be aggressive and alter this race a little bit. So I'm just surprised there's not even like a little bit of backlash from an FIM standpoint of like nothing was wrong with that.
Honestly, to my memory, I have no memory of the FIM ever doing anything.
Kind of crazy, no?
Besides jumping on a yellow flag.
I mean, maybe they don't care. I like the fact, again, to go back to the Deegan thing, that Kai tried. I like that he tried. Like, you can't just to say these guys should lay over and only win the race. Like, you got to try something. And he did. And he put Simone in a position, I mean, thanks to the weather a little bit too, that he was not going to win the championship because he picked it up in like, what, sixth or seventh after that crash? No, I think
the first one?
No, the second one in the second moto.
The second one in the mud when he was alone?
When he took him out on lap one. When he took him out on lap one, he picked it up in seventh or sixth or something like that.
Oh, the first one, yeah.
Because then he crashed again by himself.
Yes, and then he got hung up with someone briefly.
Yeah. Anyway, so chaos. I don't know. Like it was chaos. And to the point about the rain and the red flag, I don't think you got a chance to see this because when the race is happening, you were quite literally interviewing people in the pits.
Yeah, which really angered me.
Live timing died on lap 6 or something like that, and the race was still going on. And I was curious if they were going to go back to when live timing died or whatever, because at that point in time, again, to go back to the 2 laps or the 3 laps back on the red flag thing, Simone was in 9th and Kai was in 2nd when live timing died. So I don't know if they could even like account for the fact of what happened those next couple laps. But clearly they figured out. I still don't really know how they figured out that DeWolf was 5th and Simone was 6th at that point. Because it didn't look like they were ever that close, so I don't know what's going on, but whatever.
DeWolf winning the GP is the most, I don't know, man, ever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, cool, okay, sure, just run with that. Like, I'm not even going to try and argue. Like, okay.
Yeah. But no, that's
Have
great.
we ever had a rider DNF a moto and win the overall?
Well, I just, like, again, even if you watch the highlights of this, it's hilarious because they show him pushing his bike off the track and Simone going by and then Simone coming across the line 2 laps later and high-fiving the team and all the celebrations, and then just Kai's on the top step of the podium. And you're like, how did we get
the whole
there?
Juxtaposition, like, but that added to the, and again, I said this on the Vital show. My new thing is I really want a global motocross podcast because there's so much crossover. Like, there's so much crossover, and I feel like as a sport, we are really missing the boat now on being so segregated. And I guess we do it to a degree, but this is more LVK. Kind of want like a race review that's everything. Because even the British Championship, I've got a lot to say. And maybe I'll do that actually at the end. But point being, and I've lost my point because I was rambling, which is awkward because this proves that my podcast idea would be terrible. Let's see here. No, I guess my point is they were both running at the same time, and between 250 SMX and MX2, what a fucking weekend.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, peak for the sport, and I think both series and both dramatic moments deserve so much attention, and I think that the sport is better for it, because if you have never watched MXGP in your life, watch that MX2 Moto 2. I can't even imagine. I watched it obviously after the fact because, as you said, I was doing interviews. I cannot imagine watching it live. Between the takeout, the rain, have we ever seen a moto start in dry conditions and end up that muddy?
Dude.
I think Budds Creek Moto 2 in 09 may have started dry.
Well,
no, it didn't,
I mean,
did it?
technically High Point Moto 2 this year did that. It started it was about to rain, and then it just dumped. So
no, but that was nowhere near as muddy as what Australia was.
No, but I'm saying that same aesthetic of they started the moto and it was basically dry, and then it was.
I mean, get to that point of being a mudder, like that was Faenza 09. That was Belpuga. But pronunciations are fucking with my head. Belpuge 2008. That was Budds Creek 2009. That was.
Again, for those that don't watch MXGP at all, they literally canceled the second MXGP moto because so much of the track was like basically underwater. Like they would have to pump a lot of stuff off the track, and it was pretty dangerous conditions aside from that because of how wet the track was. So it was torrential rain for like an hour.
Yeah, to be clear, Kaiser Wolf's bike died because he went through a river, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't die because of a mechanical failure. It died because it got flooded.
Yeah.
Literally. No, amazing. Like, honestly, it was amazing. Like, and it's so rare for us to have MXGP and SMX running at exactly the same time. It's only possible with West Coast and Australia, because obviously different days. Brilliant. What a sport we have. Well done, the sport.
Yeah, no, that was pure chaos and certainly very interesting to see unfold. But Simone gets it done, as you always said he would. You were always there for him.
I was always there for him.
MX2 champ.
I feel like I deserve more credit for this because 3 years ago, I was calling Simon Lagenfelder. And also, he does deserve some credit. I want to look into this. So he's now gone third, first. That's quite a lot of medals for a 250 rider. I don't know if...
I know you're always on the beat of this. How is his GPs in a row?
Not great, because he missed races last year or the year before. Hold on.
Still got third,
Simon
though. That's
Lagenfelder.
good.
No, he hasn't. He didn't miss any races last year, but he missed a couple the year before. In fact, in the last... He started 90 GPs, and in that time, he's missed 3. So it's actually not that bad.
It's pretty good.
But yeah, just phenomenal stuff. Honestly, I'm at a loss for words. And tomorrow morning, I record my MXGP podcast, and I cannot wait because there's so much to say about everything. And like I say, get me on a British Championship podcast. I got stuff to say.
Yeah. Well, what I cannot wait is to tell you guys about Racetech. For 40 years, Racetech has been supplying the motorcycle industry with high-quality suspension components made right here in the USA. For modern to vintage, Racetech is your go-to source for suspension performance. And hey, we're talking about US and Europe, people, with the MXGP side. You guys can get your suspension serviced at any of their service centers across the USA and Europe as well. So thanks to Racetech.com for backing the show. And I'm going to jump out of my topics and give Lou the floor here because we're already 40 minutes into the show and I don't want to get too far gone before we talk about what you got to the table today.
Well, I think I might have more to say about Australia before I move on. Hold on.
Go for it.
Kawasaki's first Premier Class Championship in MXGP since 1998. That's phenomenal. I think there's a lot of comparisons between Feather and Cooper Webb this year. Both former champions, both, truth be told, got a lot of help by the favourites getting hurt, if we're being honest. But equally, both rose to the occasion, managed the situation well when there was a faster KTM rider nipping at the heels. There's Coonan and Chase comparisons. And both got it done with maybe 1 year left of their professional career. There's a lot there. There's a lot of comparisons there. I think that's interesting. I probably should have made that a topic. Australia was brilliant. I want to give the organisers all the credit in the world. Equally, going back to Vegas, I think we as a sport need to do a better job of 250 Moto 1. There were 5 manufacturers battling for the lead. And I realise that in any other motorsport, that would be massive news. Obviously, because in other motorsports, it is more equipment driven. That's why. But I think we should shout more, like 5 different manufacturers battling for the lead. Like, that is still a story to have teams on equal footing like that. Jumping back to Australia, MXGP need to sort their shit out because it took them hours. They never referenced the fact that MXGP Moto 2 was cancelled on social media. They were just like, yep, the season's done. Like, no, not telling anyone. That was a mess. So they need to fix that. What other observations do I have? I'm helping a couple of riders with some contracts at the moment. There's a lot going on in the MXGP paddock. I might have to turn up at the Nations with a briefcase and a suit. There's a lot going on.
I think you should.
The Nations, fuck Lewis, I guess. No Hurlings, no Watson, no Sexton, no Anstey. Just fuck Lewis.
Yep. Prado, no Prado.
I don't know if Lewis and Prado. I don't know if Lewis and Prado are really there anymore. So that's sad. No one's asking me how I am after Chase's crash.
I thought a lot of people were. I thought you got tweets saying like, "Are you okay?" Like you're his emergency contact. So
that really made me laugh. That tweet. More observations. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point.
Yeah, you're just all over the board.
Pulp Live show on Friday was incredible. Maybe the most fun I've ever had doing content ever. It was genuinely so funny. so funny. Weege was hilarious. JT was hilarious. Steve was hilarious. At one point, I can't believe this didn't get said on the review pod. At one point, JT just turned to Steve and said, "Are you into astrology?" And Weege was like, "You have spoken every day for 27 years, and you think Steve has been keeping this secret obsession with the stars and the moon from us?" And also, imagine Steve just into astrology and astronomy and all of that. That was hilarious.
Big astrology guy.
Tackling Weege's theory about Tomac being a class act, JT and I double teamed him to try and debunk this. And I said to Weege, first of all, headline, "Emotionless man shows no emotion." That's effectively the story you're running with, because that is ultimately the crux of it. And I said, and we all see what you're doing. You're just pandering to the lowest common denominator, because at its core, every single fan is going to go, "Yeah, Eli Tomac's a class act."
Is this why it's not coming out?
So then every single time that I'm trying to debunk this or talk about this, Weege just screams over me, "Is anyone an Eli Tomac fan here?" And then everyone screams. And then an hour later, I'm talking about how I think that Chase is the second best to Jet Lawrence. And then Weege just talks over the top and goes, "But how about Eli Tomac?" And everyone just roars. I'm like, fuck's sake.
That's good. That's really good.
And then it turns out, I can't believe none of this got covered on the review pod. Weege went up to Tomac and told him his theory. They did talk about it on the review pod. Okay? I must have missed
a little
that.
bit, yeah.
Weege went up to Tomac on Friday and basically said, "I want you to know that I think you're a class act." To which Weege did the impression of "Oh, what was Eli's response?" And Weege just kept doing the head nod impression all night. Literally all night. It was a really funny show.
Okay, why don't we want this uploaded? This sounds awesome. Because there's too much negative to what your Eli points are, or what?
No, the Eli stuff isn't even there.
Oh.
Honestly, in my opinion, we were all drinking. One. At points, I think all of us said stuff we shouldn't. There were a few industry people there backstage, and all of them said, "Oh, I thought this was a podcast. It's basically a comedy show."
Yeah.
And we were like, "Yeah, it's meant to be funny." But to that point, I think that the funniness comes across in person and not over podcast form. Because also, I don't know if you'd hear the crowd reaction.
Yeah.
I won't repeat one of Steve's jokes here, but I said to Steve after, I was like, "You really want that out there?" So yeah, I don't know if it will go out, but very funny. It was honestly very, very funny. Met a lot of LVK fans. And in shock news at the podcast mashup, on stage, JS7 said, "I agree with Lewis," and we were all surprised when he knows my name. And as we were heading towards the point when he said my name, in my head, I was like, "Please don't fucking say the wrong name. Please don't go, 'I agree with Luke.'"
Oh, man. I wish he would have said, "I agree with Michael" over there.
Wow. But no, let's get back to a topic. Honestly, I'm high on the sport after that weekend. Across the board, I feel like there's so much to get out, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess I should add a topic in, shouldn't I?
I feel like we should have started with this, because now I agree with you. This was awesome. This was a great weekend, but we had so much to get through with the Deegan stuff that it makes it seem like we're pretty negative about it. But honestly, it was amazing.
It really was. MXGP is getting less, and we haven't even the end of the Tom Vial KTM era, the end of the Jeffrey Hurlings KTM era, the end of the Tim Geiser Honda era, the end of the Chase Sexton KTM era, which maybe not. Maybe we don't really want to talk about that one too much because it's not quite the same. The end of the Eli Tomac. Well, I guess the
end of the Prado Cowie era.
Yeah. But it was such a poignant weekend from the sport in so many ways that I feel like as media, if we were a real sport and real media companies, the offices, headquarters would be ablaze with, because there's so many stories to write about, there's almost not enough time. I'll be honest, this morning I opened my laptop and I almost had what do they call it? Something paralysis. Because I opened my laptop and I was like, I don't even fucking know where to start. I don't know what do I even do. Yeah. What a weekend, Kellen.
It's crazy. I will say, if you want to know my thoughts on the FOMO, I do wish I was there just to like have the banters with y'all as it was happening. Because
but there wasn't any because there's no press box.
But you're in the fly suite.
Yeah, but I left Steve for the second 450 moto.
Sad.
We don't have timing. We don't have TVs. So you're still struggling a little bit. Huh?
You know, pull it up on your phone, timing?
I had MXGP on my phone, Kellen. So, yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Okay, so topic time. So I spoke to my dear friend Frank from Daytona. And this isn't a topic, but in a sheer brilliant move, we agreed that he's going to uninvite Steve from his suite, invite me with a +1, and if I want, I can make Steve my +1, which is really the ultimate turnaround. Brilliant. But he wants to host an SMX race. He has said to Feld explicitly, I want in on SMX, as well as the Supercross, not to replace it. It would obviously replace Charlotte, because SMX want one East Coast race. Thoughts?
I'm all the way in. This is pretty much exactly what we said. Did we talk? Maybe we said it on the Blair show, but I'm out on drag strips. I'm done. Like,
okay, fair. Daytona or the Charlotte Bowl dirt track thing, like MXGP.
Well, you could make a better SMX track in the Charlotte Bowl, but the fanfare of Daytona eliminates all the better opportunity for a track in the Charlotte Bowl, in my opinion, because Daytona could put on a way better event from a fanfare standpoint. You could put it at night. You could have all the lights of the speedway actually cover it, where it needs to be and everything like that. It would basically be the Daytona Supercross, but maybe better ? Like, I don't want to say that because people will get mad, but I think that there would even be more excitement behind what they would do, because I think they would go onto the asphalt and other places like that too.
Okay, here's a good question, which I don't think we would ever know the answer to unless it happens. How many fans are there without Bike Week?
I think more than you would think. I think you would expect like a half of the fan drop off. I would say that it'd still be like 90% of what they get for Daytona Supercross.
But you're steadfast that it wouldn't be as good as the Supercross.
No, I'm saying I think that it would have the opportunity to be better.
Oh, okay, goddamn. I just don't know if it would be that. I don't know how you could really make it that different to the Supercross. I think that would be my trepidation.
Oh, I think that you make it different by... Look, they work within a parameter for the Supercross to stay on the infield of the tri-oval.
Yeah.
I think they could get away with doing a little bit more outside of either end of the tri-oval, because they're done with Daytona NASCAR racing already by that point. They're still just off of the Daytona 500 when we have the Daytona Supercross, and I think it's called the Pepsi 400 is coming up in June, a little bit later on. So they don't want to have dirt and all that shit spread across, especially when they're going to have more races coming. Like, they're heading into off-season when it comes to racing down there right now. So they would be able to probably accommodate playing around with the track a little bit more, going in areas that we don't already go in the first place.
I'll put all of this into an article because it was on record. So stay tuned for this article sometime before March. It will come out in that very specific window. But they were talking about like adding because apparently they did a massive concert recently at Daytona. Like, they're expanding outside of motorsports. So they were like, we want SMX and we'll put a concert on the same weekend. Like, we can make it into more than a Supercross. To that point, they were also talking about making the Supercross more of a 2-day affair similar to SMX. And our transition is into another topic. I was talking to Frank and his, I forget the other people's titles, but there's essentially 4 people from the Daytona management group. And they were asking my opinion about like Friday at SMX versus a single-day Supercross. And I said, yeah, I feel like we're here and officially Friday is day 1, but it feels far too informal. Like, it doesn't feel like an important first day of the event. It's just informal. So then I left thinking, well, how would you change it? And I come to you now, Kellen, with an idea that I pitched to David Luongo and he hated it. So now I'm taking it to SMX. Friday, if we're going to do 2 days, which I think we should, Friday has to be more important. A couple of free practices is irrelevant. And you see F1 now moving away from free practice. I think it's even less important in our sport. I want elimination qualifying. It's never going to work in a regular supercross or regular motocross format. So let's do Q1, Q2, Q3 in SMX qualifying. That way, now I haven't quite workshopped this completely, but perhaps that could replace the LCQ. Perhaps. But either way, I think it would be a nice spin on the traditional sport. Give us something new. It would add a lot more gravitas to Friday. And I think it would just genuinely be quite exciting. And it would be an injection of life into SMX. Why not? Thoughts?
I love the idea of elimination qualifying. And I think that they would maybe just need to pull the Band-Aid and make it happen. But I know that the riders that are eliminated would complain about a little less track time, even though they get so much track time at SMX. Yeah, they would.
Would they?
They would. Because they would be like, why are you giving the superstars 10 extra laps on this track to figure it out?
You'd go, well, sir, pay attention to the motos. They get more laps than you every single moto because you go a lap down. So,
point being is you talk to a lot of these guys, and the ones that do like early Friday press, of course, they're also trying to help their sponsors and stuff like that to be maybe on TV and stuff, but they also do want to actually ride the track. And that's an easy way to do it, is to sign up for 5 a.m. press every Friday at a Supercross. So I think that that would be your hit back on elimination qualifying. I think it would be awesome. And again, if no one knows what that means, basically would you take the top 22 that are already like seated in then at that point?
Yeah.
And then do like eliminate six to get to 10?
Yeah. And do you know why I've just realized I like this more? Is with the supposed prestige around SMX, I'm done with the whole LCQ, let's bring out whoever we can.
I agree.
Like, you know what? Let's seed the top, as we've said before, let's seed the top 20. Reserve 2 gates for Max Anstey, who won a main event but wasn't seeded in, and there may be... I don't think you'd get more than 2 of those people a year, realistically, would you? Because winning a race is already so difficult. And yeah, then file them all in to elimination qualifying. It would add so much more trepidation already on Friday, because if you make the sessions short enough where it's a little less... Make the sessions short enough, and then that would evoke a little more drama, because not everyone would have the time, and a mistake would be punished more costly. So then imagine, oh my god, Deegan is out in Q1. This is bad news, Like, ultimately, with our qualifying sessions, the cream is always going to rise.
Yeah,
they just will. So I like that part of it, and also to your point about the privateers, those who are in the 22 or 20-man field, they would get attention, because this was my pitch to MXGP. This adds such a spotlight onto the cutoff for Q1 in 16th that suddenly PRMX with Mitchell Harrison are going to be all over Race Day Live, or however you want to do this, because he is on the drop zone. Is he going to get dropped? There, Chase Sexton's just gone to first, and that's put Mitchell Harrison out, Yeah. The word Mitchell Harrison would never have been uttered as much as it would do in that format. And then, not only that, again, workshopping this as we go along, that's your pitch to these teams. SMX allows us to add a new format, be a bit more creative, and give you more coverage than we would in a typical Supercross.
Yep. No, I agree.
I don't see a negative.
How do you do Saturday then? Because then... what do you do? Like, you do 2 free practices Saturday to just give them a little bit more track time? Because otherwise, I feel like the guys are going to be like, yeah, we know the track, we already qualified, what are we supposed to do now?
Okay, going wild now. Friday, free practice, qualifying, sprint race.
No.
No?
I do not want another race. Racing's cool, I get it, but we're already at the point... the qualifying races in MXGP have totally killed the math and the build-up and everything, in my opinion. So,
but SMX only? I mean, we're already out the window with math. No one knows what's going on.
Then what do you do? You give out like the same thing that MXGP does, 10-1, top 10 gets points?
I'm so lost with the math in SMX that we could have finished the 250 race and they could have told me that Daxton Bennett was the champion, and I would have gone, okay, I'll take your word for it.
Well, I will say, I mean, to your point with that, I watched the race with my wife, and I had to explain to her how no, it doesn't matter if Shimoda goes, 1-3 and wins the overall. He's still going to get exactly the same amount of points as if he goes 1-1. And she's like, what? So, like,
yeah, well, you heard it in my last interview where he was like, outdoors, a 1-3 beats a 2-2, but not here.
Exactly.
And it's like, fuck yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't even, I've heard people say that before, but it still doesn't stay with me. It doesn't register. So yeah, okay, maybe there are holes in my theory, because if you do the qualifying on Friday, I don't know what you do on Saturday other than just a practice in the morning, a long practice. Unless you do just keep Friday the same and then do this elimination qualifying on Saturday, which would then add...
No, because it ruins your point of saying you need to make Friday more important. Friday would still be just as...
Okay, so 1 free practice, elimination qualifying, Saturday, 1 free practice, motos.
Sure. But then I don't know. It just makes, like, Saturday would be extremely long then. It would feel extremely long. Because, like, for example, it wasn't really this... Well, it was kind of this way at Vegas for you guys. You guys still got to the track at 11 or whatever, but, like, that whole morning period feels long, and...
It's odd. It's I don't know if it's just because we're used to the outdoors, but like I was, as we're going to get into in my next segment, I was killing time Saturday morning hard.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with myself. And I understand that is kind of the point, is that it's easier to attract fans if you're just like, just come out at night and hang out. So I get that as well, but I don't know, like, I just want elimination qualifying, and I understand why it wouldn't work in Supercross and certainly outdoors. So I think SMX is the perfect time to do something new. And also then, hey, SMX, we're trying something new,
Yeah.
And if you're doing elimination qualifying, give points for pole, because make it that important. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I've made big progress with getting us a skybox, so maybe I can do this as well.
Love it.
Who knows?
I'm ready.
Can
I tell the folks about Partzilla real quick before we jump into your third topic?
Yes, you can.
All right. Partzilla.com is the premier OEM parts dealer and distributor. They sell OEM parts for Honda, Kawasaki, Polaris, Can-Am, Suzuki, Arctic Cat, Sea-Doo, Ski-Doo, and Yamaha motorcycles, ATVs, PWCs, and snowmobiles. Visit Partzilla.com to see their extensive line of parts and accessories. And Mitchell Harrison finished up the championship in 21st place. Rough last round for him. And then Hunter Yoder didn't even make the motos, but was able to make it into the second moto after Ryder D got hurt. I was a little surprised that of all the names, the one guy that doesn't make it in the 250 class is Hunter Yoder. Thoughts?
With all due respect, Hunter Yoder is a million times better than what we saw in SMX.
Yes.
And I have absolutely no idea what happened or why, but that is weird to me.
Well, I hope his new environment will suit him well next year.
I wonder if the new environment is a little bit like, oh boy.
Nah, you know what? I think that they think this environment can turn this guy around.
I don't know if he needs to be turned around. That's the thing. I feel like it's there.
Well, clearly, it wasn't there in SMX.
Before SMX. Yeah, I don't know. Also, before we segue, I just want to say, because we didn't really talk about it, holy fuck, the video of Chase's crash.
Dude. Dirty.
Honestly, I think if you listen to my interviews, you can hear it. I was a little bit out of sorts because I was freaking a little bit.
Could you guys see it? Or see the aftermath, I guess?
No one saw it.
Okay.
A few people commented a few people team-wise were like, yeah, we saw the bike, obviously because it went 20 stories high. But, I've said it a million times, but tell me another instance where Chase Sexton stayed down.
Yeah. That's the same section.
That's when I was like, okay. No, go on.
That's the same section that ate up Jordan Smith, qualifying, dislocated his shoulder. It took Henry Miller out in Moto 2 of 250s, and then Chase dies in it. So, I don't know what it is about rollers in a turning section, but man, that thing was eating people up. And that crash was dirty. When I saw your tweet go up of the quote unquote update of Chase, at like
Oh,
11
that he
p.m.
walked into the medics.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, he what? He walked into the medics?
Yeah. Honestly, so I got that information 30 minutes before I sent the tweet. I quadruple checked it because I was so like, I'm not sure I believe that.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, person in an orange shirt, for telling me that. But I'm going to have to quadruple check this before I tweet it.
Rightfully so, because
Like,
I mean, we didn't
because
know,
it just
I
seems
guess.
unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
When have you ever seen Chase Sexton stay down? When have you ever seen Chase Sexton on the mule? He probably didn't even know there was a mule. He's not familiar, like, he fucking walks off. It's kind of his trademark thing is to just storm off from a crash like that.
I mean, shoot, even his, when he crashed at Houston in his second ever 450 Supercross race, and he broke his, what did he break? Shoulder, collarbone, something? And he just walked right away, like just got up and walked away. So
yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. But he was hanging out after the race. So
as was Ryder D.
Someone in an orange shirt said this to me, and I fully agree. They said if it was anyone but Chase, this would be a very, very, very catastrophic situation. And I was like, yeah, I think I have to agree.
Well,
like,
I mean, that's the point
imagine
of having that much muscle mass, I guess, right? He's built like a.
I might send this video to Jeffrey Hurlings and be like, so how would you have fared?
Oh no!
Like, fuck me.
Jeffrey.
He would have. Jeffrey, like, imagine. Like, it is wild, our sport. So Chase is relatively okay. Weak shoulder, which who knows, that could turn into something more, but weak shoulder. And then Deegan broke his collarbone with arguably the mildest crash to ever get an injury. But Chase somehow is fine. Like,
Well, I was gonna say, obviously I was concerned about him, but like 30 minutes after the race, I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, Cowie has nobody. What are they gonna do? Like, because I thought Chase was really hurt, like bad, like he wouldn't even make Supercross kind of bad. So there you go, Cowie.
it is odd, the Cowie situation. Odd.
Yeah.
But that'll be announced October the 17th? 15th? 17th? So
And
stay tuned to LVK.
Jorge, the day
do you want to
before?
go, or do you want me to do my notes?
Either one.
Okay. Well, no, it's up to you. I'm having a while of a time.
Yeah, we can keep going.
Okay. So, seeing as we suck at non-moto, I did some quote-unquote observations from the weekend. 1, Thursday night, I went to the casino because I was bored. I played blackjack for the second time in my life. I'm not really familiar with blackjack, but I did it for the second time. Didn't realize that it was like a team sport. And I didn't like it. Like, I'm sat there, I get a card, the fuckers sat at a table are reacting to, like, ooh. And I'm like, what the fuck are you on about? Focus on your own shit. Didn't like that. Just want to sit there by myself and figure shit out.
I was confused what you meant by team sport. I was like, I've never heard of team
The
blackjack.
oohs and ahs from the other people at the table to everything that everyone else was doing, too much for me. Didn't like that. So that made it into my notes. 2, Saturday morning before the race, killing time. As I said, went to the casino in the lobby, played roulette this time. I bet on number 4 and number 23 every single time for obvious reasons. Didn't come up once. Lost $150. And I think that's a foreshadowing of how the night went for Chase.
You do love yourself some Julian Beaumer.
Yes. Well, I actually do now, don't I? So, you know what? We'll take it. That's why I did 23.
Yeah.
But no, I was very angry about that because normally, like, that works. And I was very angry and I lost money. And if Chase wasn't seriously beat up, I would be sending him an invoice. But never mind. But same thing, the dealer there. Like, I would lose. And I'm like, what the fuck are you laughing for? Like, because I was doing 4 every time and she caught on, so then it would go to 5. And she, so close. It's like, yeah. Shut the fuck up. I'm walking up to the suites at the Speedway with Steve. There's 2 people walking about as slow as anyone's ever walked, side by side, covering the entire, like, stairwell. I'm behind them, trying to find a way to pass. Eventually I say, excuse me, and they literally look at me like I'm a piece of shit on their shoe. Fucking get in a single line. Don't walk side by side. That doesn't work. 4. They had new opening ceremonies videos this week. In Chase's, he was narrating it, and he said, and I would have brought this up because it pissed me off, but with all due respect, he was fighting for his life. So Chase is narrating it, and he says, I don't care what the media says, I ignore it. Excuse me? How about we say certain media? What the fuck did I do?
Is this the breakup happening in real time?
What the fuck? I was sat, Kellen, I was caught off guard. Just, the opening ceremonies video could have said, I ignore what the media say, except for Lewis. Why not?
Also, can I say this about Chase? I love Chase. Great dude.
Oh, I love Chase too.
What do you mean what the media says? Like, who is going in on him over this? Like, he's a head case.
Hey!
And like, what do you mean complaining about the media? Come on.
I just feel like I was struck down.
You were.
And I feel like I needed my own category.
I think this is the end of the friendship, to be honest.
Kellen, I'm very emotional after the weekend, and I'm heading into a motocross of nations with no one I know. So let's calm it, yeah?
Jeremy Sewer on line 1, by the way.
No, it's fine. Sewer and Jonas and Vlanderin and Rasmus and Kai and, the media guys, the suspension guys. There's a lot of people. I had a lot of time reserved for Jeffrey, Ben, and Chase. A lot of my time was reserved for them. Suddenly very free.
Have you changed your flight back to go later now so you don't have to go early?
No, I still have many dinner plans. But let's just say that I'm deflated. Continuing with the opening ceremonies theme, Eli's comes up and there's screenshots of Instagram comments and tweets, and Steve and I were dying because for a split second we thought that his tweet to Steve was going to come up in opening ceremonies, but it didn't, obviously. But it just caught us off guard. But like, why is there screenshots of Eli social media? And we were really hoping it was going to be there, but it wasn't. So we were sad.
He's making new material by the day at this point.
Yeah, I don't really understand what's going on, and it's very scary because no one is safe.
No one is safe.
6. Sticking with the Steve theme, Steve turns to me and says, Sid, how many titles has Jet won now? 1 Supercross, 2 outdoors, and so on and so forth. And then, like, a lull in the conversation, I go, well, and 2 SMX. And Steve went, say that again and I will throw you off this balcony. Which I thought was very, very, I don't know, harsh on SMX.
It's also aggressive to say it while you're standing at the venue.
I would also like to point out that publicly and privately, Steve was very vocal about the fact that he didn't give a shit. That man's body language, he very much gave a shit. Like, the second the riders would go out of view, he'd perk out of his seat a little bit, Like, I was like, in the corner of my eye, I was like, you are so into this. Similar to the Deegan thing of the facade is slipping. The facade was slipping.
Okay.
7. Thank you to Fly Racing for the invite into their suite. Had an incredible burger. Followed by a dessert. I don't quite know how to quantify, but thank you to the lovely lady who was working the hospitality portion of the suite. I said, ma'am, I'm a fussy eater. Which one of these do you recommend I try? She recommended this little flapjack jam thing. Brilliant. Best thing I've ever eaten. Went back, told her to thank her for her recommendation. She then managed to order me more because they'd run out and brought them to my seat.
Wow.
Yep. And then shortly after that, Chase was fighting for his life and my night and experience was ruined and I chose to not remember anything else that happened.
What a roller coaster.
We need more non-moto. Also, I said this on the Vital show, so sorry for repeating myself. I don't know what Gio thinks is going to happen, but he is on me. Hey, text Chase and tell him I want to be his teammate next year. Hey, say to Chase, can he get me in at Cowie? After the race, Chase is fighting for his life. Gio, I interview him, go to walk off, and Gio goes, if you're going to see Chase, tell him that I still want to be his teammate next year. And I'm like, it's not the time, man. And also, go over to the fucking truck. You think Lewis and Chase are going to make this happen?
I think he's now probably wore his welcome out a little bit, which is why he's sending his other minions.
I think he's beginning to seem like a fucking nutcase.
I like Gio.
So do I. But it is funny.
Yeah.
How this is being repeated nonstop. And yeah, final, that's the end of Lewis's diary.
Wow. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought observations to the table. I'm sure Mathis is about to sue us for copyright infringement.
We need more non-moto. But I do have an idea.
Okay.
I watched a YouTube video earlier. We're going to do this because it might get us a lot of views. We are going to do proper content. Like, we're expanding. We're going to do like energy drink tasting, rate the energy drinks, all sorts of stuff like that. Foods, everything.
So we're basically turning into Good Mythical Morning right now.
I have no idea what that is. But we can easily like, hey, go and buy these 7 cans and then sit here and, blind taste test.
It would be a lot better if you still live close, but, such is life.
Well, I can do that because why not?
Yeah. All right. Do we have anything else that we want to go over?
I don't know. I feel like we said a lot without saying anything.
It's pretty much the onus of the entire show in the first place.
But honestly, once again, what a weekend of racing and storylines.
Honestly,
we didn't even say the word Jet Lawrence once.
We didn't. We barely talked about Joe. 450 class was nothing, so...
Apart from a little tip of the hat to Chase Sexton's crash, we did not mention the 450 class.
Oh, we talked about the guys in the 450 class who are dropping down to race 12.
We didn't talk about Roman Fevre?
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
Yeah, in this pod, you literally said 10 years. It's like Cooper Webb.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, though. Save
cool,
Cowie season, huh?
Cowie needed this. I honestly think my gut feeling is that we have been very close to losing Kawasaki in the way of Suzuki in recent times, the last 5 years or so. And I really do believe that this championship has significantly helped that situation. I said this story. Matterly last year, a high up in Kawasaki racing, said to me, yeah, the big boss from Japan is here. I'm literally taking him around and trying to convince him why this is still important. Yeah. So I think this championship will help.
Well, definitely helps a lot more than what happened in the U.S. this year for them. That's for sure. But kudos to Roman, kudos to Simon, kudos to Joe Shimoda, and kudos to Jet Lawrence. We have a bunch of champions.
Let's not forget Lottie Van Drunen.
Yep. The Wolf champion.
Yeah, the Wolf champion. And Tommy Searle.
Yep. Is that Triumph's first title?
Yeah, motocross.
Yep. Good for them.
Which again, going back to my manufacturer comment, I think that is a big deal. Like, so quickly, I don't know if this is the case in every sport, but so quickly, all of us in this sport, from media to industry to fans, have kind of just forgotten that Triumph is new. And we're just like,
You know what's something I will say from a manufacturer standpoint that I respect a lot is that KTM is having a roundtable with Simon this Thursday. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't get that email.
They're doing like a media interview roundtable thing or something like that, which is cool. Like, manufacturers should do that when your guy wins a championship. So,
well, when you get on there, thank them. Say Lewis said thanks for the fucking invite.
I'll forward it to you.
Like, literally, I've championed this man. No one in the world would know who Simon Lagenfelder is if it wasn't for me. No one.
Just the way no one would watch the sport if Deegan wasn't here.
No one would know who Chase Sexton is.
Nope. Nobody.
Yeah, no, it is true. But on the I think the Tommy thing is poignant. You know what's weird about Tommy? And I need to check the stats on this. So, amazing rider coming up, world championship contender, vice world champion 3 times, third once. In that period, he could never win a British championship. I want to say off the top of my head, he lost it by 2 points one year to Mike Brown and 1 point to Cole Nunn. Like, it was just like this weird thing. Didn't win his first British championship until 2016, when he was kind of already, quote unquote, on his way out. And now he's just stacking them up. I think that's quite a funny little story.
Well, I can tell you, the sour grapes are between him and Koulas, because Koulas really wished he had a couple of those British titles that Tommy took. So,
you know what would be interesting? If you go back now, so Koulas was doing the whole British championship thing, has chosen to go international. Wonder who's making more money, and Tommy's 100% making more money.
Tommy's making more money.
Yeah. But then also, I would bet that Koulas is making more money than he was in the British Championship. The reason Tommy is making money is because of his personality and personal sponsors. I think the Tommy Searle of 5 years ago would cringe as fuck if he heard this. This Tommy Searle is accepting it. But ultimately, Tommy's value and money comes from being an influencer now. The racing is just a nice little compliment. Like, oh yeah, cool. That's also a bonus.
Hey, shout out to Koulas, though. He just picked up 27 grand from SMX.
Yeah, I wonder what Tommy's title bonus was.
Cool stuff. All right. Big thanks to Leatt, Racetech, Namura, and Partzilla for backing the show, bringing us the LVK show every single week. This is a long one, but man, there was a lot to unpack, and I mean, there's still more to unpack, but we'll get to it next week as we roll into the Motocross of Nations. I can't even believe that we're, 11 days away from MXON getting kicked off. So, man, this is going to happen quick.
It does. How much has your enthusiasm died?
Not as much as I would have thought. I'm still pretty hyped for it.
You think, can a team of Eli, J-Coop, RJ compete with Australia?
Straight up, no. But, dude, we saw Erne 2 years ago, jet crashes on the first lap, and then everything's out the door. So
yeah, and also, equally, I think we're all forgetting, Australia only won by 3 points last year.
Yeah.
So, I don't think this team of Jet, Hunter, and Webster is that dominant. I think we're all thinking, because of what Jet is, I think we're all thinking it's more of a foregone conclusion. But they only beat USA by 3 points last year, and I would argue that Eli, J-Coop, RJ, in their current form, is a better team than Eli, Coop, and AP last year.
I think you could make that argument because no one expected Cooper Webb to be amazing on a 250.
Yeah, I think, because direct comparison, I think Eli is as good as last year. I think J-Coop would probably be better on a 250 than Webb, especially with it being an American track. And I think RJ would probably do better, if not the same, as AP.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I do want to save a lot of this for next week, though, because I think that we're going to really deep dive this and hash it out next week. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Nations. A chaotic weekend, as you said, and a lot of fun had all around the world. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in to another edition of the Leatt LVK More Than Moto podcast. Lewis, I'll see you next week to talk Motocross of Nations, buddy.
Look forward to it.
All right, see you guys.